Hi, my name is Jerry Smith. I'm imagining an oil painting class, a beginning oil painting class, and a discussion on modeling form. So I would say in this class, we'll be using oil paint and all its related materials to make paintings from life. The focus here is to model form. How do we paint what we see and make it look three-dimensional? We will paint, and as a group, we will discuss our work in the class. So part of the process of painting is also learning how to articulate our thoughts in a collaborative atmosphere, to share our thoughts with others regarding their progress and improvements that need to be made. This kind of critical dialogue is part of a professional practice. Also, if you're trying to build a portfolio to continue your education at a 4-year college, having pieces that demonstrate fundamental skills starts in classes like this one. So when discussing modeling form, as you work, I'm going to discuss with you two primary elements of design: shape and tone. Imagine a painting as a map of shapes with different light and dark values. If you get the shapes organized in the right order, you're on the right track. So how do you organize the lights and darks to make your paintings sing? That's the question that we all ask as we're making a painting. So when we look at a lit geometric solid like a sphere, for example, we can see the tonal pattern that make it feel three-dimensional. It has a light side, it has a dark side, it has a shadow that's cast on the surface it's sitting on. It has a little light along one of the edges. So if we render the sphere to make it look realistic, we have to consider all the shades of gray in between. We can clearly see the light and dark areas and you can imagine dividing up the shapes and assigning a value to each shape. Note that many of the shapes on this lit sphere that we're all familiar with have soft edges. That's another point of discussion, how to handle edges. And by the way, color is a different issue, a different discussion. In fact, we'll start with the monochromatic palettes when we're modeling form. One color plus white, and then we'll add colors as we go. This actually is an idea that goes back to the Italians, the Venetians specifically, that mastering tone is mastering color. One particular painter named Titian was known as a great colorist. He was really a master of tone. So we'll be painting still lifes in the class. This is a traditional way to explore and learn about painting and drawing, and in our case, modeling form. Artists forever have learned their craft through still life. Some artists have specialized in it. In one sense, still life is the least demanding of all the genres like figure painting and landscape, etc. You can set up some objects and you can leave them there for a long time. You can come back to them. It doesn't have the psychological baggage of painting people and figures and faces. So there's a history to it. Of course, there's all the materials associated with oil paint, and we're using oil paint, which is about a 600-year-old practice, and canvas or board, something to paint on, brushes and palette knives, something to paint with, something to apply the paint. Drawing materials is necessary, not too many needed for in our case. I'll make a special note here that when dictating some thoughts to Siri, she misspelled oil paint as a royal pain. It stuck with me, and I can appreciate that. So we also need stuff to clean with, rags to wipe your brushes on, sometimes to wipe your painting if it's not going well. An easel or someplace to work where you're comfortable. A tabouret, which is like a little table. You sit next to your easel to put your stuff on. Solvent. Medium for mixing, for thinning your paint. Your oil paint is essentially oil mixed with colored pigments. So if you add more oil, you can thin it out. There are many recipes for mediums, including some with wax and varnish and all kinds of stuff. Not too many different kinds of materials. You can't get away with too much with the oil paint. But traditionally, linseed oil is the most widely used oil binder mixed with the pigments. You can mix your oil with that. And there's a rule that says oil paint should be painted fat over lean, which means that if you make a layer of paint, your next layer has to have more oil in it. Otherwise, you'll run into issues with binding. It won't stick to the layer underneath, or it will crack over time. You run into some problems. So materials that we're using. And then I'll end with a general painting story, a painting teacher story. There was a Bay Area painter named Wayne Thibault. He was pretty famous in his day. He had a world-renowned reputation for painting desserts, still lifes, like we're talking about. Sweet things, cakes, pies, candy, cupcakes, lollipops. He cornered the market on painting these sweet things. He made oil paint look like frosting. He painted other things too. Later on, he had a whole phase painting these landscapes of San Francisco, all of the hills, and very interesting body of work of those paintings. Anyway, he was also a teacher. I believe he may have taught at UC Santa Cruz or one of the local colleges. I don't remember which one. The story goes that a student was in his first day of class, and Wayne Thibault set up a painting to demonstrate to his students, spent the entire session working on his painting. In the meantime, this student, who knew how famous he was imagining walking away with this painting at the end of the session, because he was going to make lots of money having this original Wayne Thibault painting. Then, at the end of the session, Wayne Thibault took a scraper and scraped all the paint off his demonstration painting and made a pile of muddy paint on the ground. And that was that. He said to his students, "This is what painting really is," and walked away. Anyway, that's my story. Enjoy your class, and I'll see you next time.